Hello, it's Mr. Barty here. So I'm going to show you a few things for your IA. This is completely a improvisation. I don't know if that's the word. So please forgive me if I mess up on anything. So I'm going to use this data, and you might be able to, maybe the person that's, maybe if you know whose data this is, it's your IA. So this person has, I don't know, what should we call this? Let's say chemical. So it's got chemical 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let's just say chemical, they're all different. So there's no, because this is discontinuous data, these are all very different chemicals. So it's going to be a bar graph. And I'll show you how to do the same thing for a line graph later. Another thing that this person's data is lacking is that you see the decimal places, they've got 11, 9, and so on. So what they should do is they should make sure the decimal places are the same. And if you highlight, so click and highlight like this, and then go here, you can decrease or increase the amount of decimal places. So I'm going to make sure that all the decimal places are either 2 or 1. Now looking at this data, it looks like 2 is a good number because here it's 5, 7. Now for some reason, this one here is being very naughty. I don't know why. It doesn't want to do, so I'm going to add in a 0. Oh, wow. This is one's being very naughty. I don't know why. There we go. That doesn't usually happen. Now, this person's data, their headings weren't amazing, so that's why I didn't include them. But basically, they had trial 1, trial 2, trial 3, then they had average, and then they had area, and then they forgot to put the units in. So what you need to do is, by the way to insert a row above is you kind of click on the number 1, and you go to insert and you get a row above. If you want to delete that on Excel, you just go to delete. Same with this, if you want to insert a column onto the left, so if I want to make a space between where it says chemical and 1, I'm going to go to insert and there, and it inserts that. Anyway, so I think this is trial, I don't know what it was, but it's important to make sure we write what the units are. So centimeter, I think it's centimeter cube squared. I can't remember. I'm going to remove area for now because this was very particular for this person's IA. Average, I'm going to change this because I want to teach you how to actually calculate average without having to do it on your calculator. So I'm going to remove that for now. So what you need to do, you don't need a calculator for this part, is you just need, some of you know this already, you have to type in equals, then type in the word average, and open bracket. Okay, equals average, open bracket. Highlight those 3 that you want to average, close bracket. And there's your number. There's usually sometimes a little like error thing. You can ignore it, it's fine, and then it disappears. Then what you need to do is there's a little box here. So what you're going to do is you're going to click on the cell. So E3 is the cell. So E3 is the cell we're looking at. And you're going to click on the little green box in the bottom corner, and you're going to drag it down. And then this has automatically averaged all your results for you. The next thing we're going to do is we need to figure out the standard deviation of our result. Before I continue, let me just say a quick note. This person's results, they've got enough results. They've got 5 independent variables, and then they've done 3 trials for each independent variable. So this here, these raw results, that's the minimum amount of results. When you post your data, onto your IA, you need to have 2 separate tables. So this is really important before I can continue on to standard deviation. Sorry, remember I did say I was making this up as I go along. So what you need to have is you need to have one table that looks like this. So we'll just pop that in another sheet for now. You need to have one table like this, and this is your raw data table. So I'll just label this raw for now. You don't have to do this, like you don't have to do what I'm doing on Excel, but you do need to put this table in, a raw data table. And now we're going to make the other table, which is basically your independent variables. So in this case, it's the chemical versus the average and the standard deviation. Now let's go on to standard deviation. So the way to calculate that, type in equals, right, standard, st dot dev. Oh, it doesn't come up. St dev. Sorry, I forgot my formulas. Open bracket. So s equals st dev, open brackets, highlight those three because we want to find out the standard deviation of those three. And that's it. Okay. And obviously the standard deviation is quite high there. So the number of decimal places is quite high. So we need to just keep that down to the same 2 decimal places. Automatically, so if you're unsure what standard deviation means, basically it means the higher the number, the more range there is in your data. You could also, if you want to, you can also just find out the range. So equals range. Oh, it doesn't work. Oh, it doesn't work. I thought it was a thing. Nope. Delete that. Ignore me. Let's just do that. So I'm going to rename standard deviation as stdev, saintdev. So that's your data. Now what I'm going to do is, all I want in my second table is and it's known as process data or data. So this is all. So the way to rename these sheets, I usually double click. I don't know how to do it on a Mac. I am not rich enough for a Mac, unless my leaving presents when you guys leave are good enough. I should stop speaking now. All right. So yeah, there we go. Let's make it neater. So what you're going to do is, again, we're going to highlight all of it, copy it. There's lots of ways to do this, but I want to just remove this middle chunk now. But the issue is that this is based off this. So what you need to do, how do I do this? Oh yeah, okay. What we need to do is like this. It's delete this. Apologies. Okay, we'll start again. So when you copy it, highlight all of this, copy, go to your process data where you want to put it, and you're going to paste. So I'm going to do my 2-finger click, or on a PC, right click and paste the values only. So you lose all your nice formatting. Then we're going to delete the 3 trials in the middle, delete. And now we've got chemical, which is the independent variable, your average, and your standard deviation. We've got this extra row here, so we can delete that. We want to make these 3 all bold to make sure they stay headings. So you can press Control B. Another thing you can do is you can also go to Format as Table if you want. So click that Format as Table, and then it automatically makes it into like a pretty table. Oh, look how nice it looks. And then one other thing is you need to make sure the decimal places are back to the way they were. So sorry, when you click Format Table, it automatically takes you into the Design tab. So you need to go back to the Home, and then you just want to format these back to 2 decimal places as they were before. Now what you need to do is, we don't need a graph. Sorry, this video is a bit long. You don't need a graph of your process of your raw data. Don't need that. Pointless. Well, it's not pointless, but you just don't need it. You want to have it on just your process data only. So how do we get a graph out of our process data? What we need to do is highlight chemical and average in the 2 columns. Then go to insert. And then because I said this was what did I say? Discontinuous data for this person, I think. Then we go to, oh, that's not worked nice correctly. There we go. Recommended chart, and that's the one there. And press OK. Now the chart you get is not good enough for your IA, so you need to do some stuff. And again, some of you know what to do, some of you don't. The first thing is this title is wrong. So we need to look at area of inhibition against type of chemical, or how different chemicals, and then you write 1 to 5 affect. Apologies if I think it's effect, isn't it? The area of inhibition, which is measured in centimeters squared. Let's see if that works. Control Shift plus. Yeah, Control Shift plus for me makes it superscript like that, so it gives me a fancy thing. This table's still wrong because I've just realised that the average area, we haven't written the units. So average area should be in centimeters squared. Standard deviation, there's no units for it. Okay, so now let's go back to our graph. This is the beautiful graph. What we need to do is we need to add some chart elements. If you go to design, which you should have been on already after you've made your graph, I just had to fiddle around with some stuff. You can change the colors if you like, so there's lots of different color schemes. You can change the layout. So the layout I like to go to is this one here. Okay, so it's got something on the y-axis and something on the x-axis. Click that. I generally don't like. Oh, I don't like this anymore. Wait, where's my layout that I like? This one. So this one's got title, y-axis, x-axis, and some of you might need this key. In this case, we don't need the key, which is that little box there. So I just clicked it and pressed delete. But we do need an axis title. So this is chemical. Okay, so chemical 1, 2, 3, 4. And this is area of inhibition centimeter. Control Shift plus 2. Control Shift plus again, and close bracket. So that's how I get that. There is one more or a few more things you need to do. So another thing you need to do is if you click, oh sorry, no, you don't have to do that. Another thing you need to do is you need to include the error bars. So if you click into design, which you should be on already, and go to add chart element, go to error bars, more error bars. I'm sorry this is so long, but I'm telling you this will make life easy when you learn how to do this, especially when you go to university. Custom specify value, okay, and then you get a positive error bar value and a negative error bar value. So positive error bar value means the error bar going upwards, negative was the error bar going downwards. So you want to highlight, so click into positive, it should be already highlighted when you do it. Highlight the standard deviation, go here, highlight standard deviation, press OK. You have error bars. And then what you need to do is when you do your conclusion and or evaluation, the error bars show kind of the overlap in your data. So for example, chemical 2 and 3, there is some overlap. So even though the actual average is, different, and you could run a t-test to find out if 2 and 3 is statistically different or not, the error bars show that there's a lot of overlaps. For example, the maximum value overlaps with around here, and the minimum value overlaps with around here. So the minimum value actually goes into past the average, and the maximum value of chemical 3 goes past the average data, is higher than the average data of chemical 2. So that's what to do there. Okay, so that's one way to do your data. I think that's pretty much done. I might be missing something. Another thing is that if you're a bit OCD like me, or not really OCD, but you might want to change this. So first of all, you see the two decimal places here. There's no point. So you need to do something, but I've forgotten how to do it. Vertical axes. I'll have to show this later, I think. Can I do anything about this? Text options. Axes. Oh, here we go. So if you let's remove this out of the way. If I click on my chart or my graph and click here and just double click, then this pops up, and you can either choose text options or axes options. So it comes up as axes options. So my maximum value, because the highest value goes up to 12, I could have a maximum value up to 13. All right, and then it looks a bit better. You could even have it up to 12 if you wanted to. Minimum value, get it to 0. Okay, always, unless you obviously have some negative values, then you can change that. You can mess around with this. So I like having this 0.5 as my minor. It doesn't really change much yet. That's automatic. Okay, you can mess around with the rest of it later, but that's one thing. I want to get rid of these decimal places, but I don't know how. Do I need to do? No, I don't know how to do that. Maybe you will find out. But it's not a big deal if you have two decimal places there. Nothing will happen. So that's one way to do the charts. Another way to do your graph is again you highlight the two, go to insert, and then the other thing is you want to make a scatter graph if you have continuous data. Oh, it shouldn't be. Sorry, I highlighted the. When you highlight, make sure you don't highlight the two headings. So you go to scatter graph. Look at that. Again, so you want the right layout. So you want to have the x and y axes labeled. So you want to go here. Is that the right one? No, I don't want that. There we go. This first one. So title, y-axis and x-axis, and the key, if you need it, is there. I'm going to delete the key because we don't need it for this particular graph. I'm going to just copy the title over. So Control A, Control C, click there, Control A, Control V, and it happens automatically there. Same thing, I'm going to just cheat, Control A, Control C, click back here, Control A, Control V, and then let's just say this is, let's just say it happens to be continuous data, so we can make it into a, make it into a thing like that. Again, you can see for this one that the x-axes are wrong, so I'll double click onto that, go to axes options, and I'll click on the three bars, I think. Yeah, and we need to make sure the x-axis goes to 5 only, so it's only got chemical 5, and then there you go, it spreads out. You can also say that you don't want 4.5 to show, so major, you just click into 1, minor 0, 0.5 then. But yeah, so it only shows that. And then the same up here, you want to make sure it only goes up to maybe 13. So again, axes options, go to 13, make this 0. I don't know why that changes automatically. I like to make this major to make this 0.5. So that will do. And then we're missing a few things. So here we can again add in our standard deviation. So let's add chart element, error bars, more error bars, custom, specify the value. It's gone horizontal, but I don't know why. I have to change that. This happened with someone else I was teaching. And they figured it out. How did they do it? Oh, I know why I did. It's add chart element, error bars, more error bars, vertical error bar. It's clearly vertical. Oh, I know what to do. Sorry, yeah. So you just go there, specify value, do that thing where you go standard deviation. Okay, press OK, and then all you need to do is click these weird sideways error bars and just remove them. Press delete, and you click them, or backspace. And there's your error bars. Now there's one more thing you need to do, or you should do, which is you need to put a trend line in this. So it depends what kind of curve, what kind of data you've got. So some people's data, you might have. Let me just go to drawing. I can't do that. Insert shapes. There we go. So you might have a line that does this, and you've got a rate going on, and then it plateaus. Another drawing, another kind of line you might get is if you have a optimum of something. So usually enzymes has an optimum condition, or photosynthesis, or something that's organic that includes enzymes has a curve like that. So these are two different types of curves that is quite hard to get on Excel. But the best thing is when you have a linear and a correlation, so you can get the Pearson correlation coefficient. So the way to do that is click onto your chart, go to design, go to add chart element, trend line, and linear. And there you go. It gives you your actual trend line. If you go to more trend line options, okay, it automatically puts the linear there, and you can have it as a solid line. Why is that not happening? Solid line. Oh, it's because there's a pattern, I think. Yes, there we go. So solid line, you can color it whichever color you like. I prefer black color. That makes more sense. And that's pretty much it. But if you click the three bars there, you can change the type of trend line you get. Okay, the moving average. There's also, I don't know what this period means though. I think I don't know what that means. But let's go with linear. And the coolest thing with that is that you can set the intercept. So let's say you know that when the chemical is 0, then the area has to be 0. But in this case, it's not. You can display the equation on the chart. You can also display R squared Pearson correlation coefficient, which gives you your, so 0.2 means there's not much correlation there. And that makes sense for this person's data. So that's pretty much it. So long story short, you need to make sure you've got this table. Again, you need to say like table 1, raw data showing, trial area versus chemical. Then you need another table which is just your process data. So table 2, process data. Okay, then you make your graph based on the process data only. Then you need to do your statistical analysis test. So in this case, maybe the person goes, oh, well, the two biggest areas of inhibition were 1 and 4. So maybe they can find out, do a t-test between 1 and 4. Maybe because this person was looking at different types of the chemicals. So I think 1, 2, and 3 was the same type of chemical, and 4 and 5 was the same type. So they can average 1, 2, and 3, and they can do an average of 4 and 5, and then do a t-test of 1, 2, and 3's results against 4 and 5 results. It's quite complicated, but they can figure it out. T-test, if you just go into Google and search how to do it, it's really easy on Excel. Some of you are really good on your graphical calculator as well. You know how to do it. So you just type in equals t-test, and then you just click array, and then you look at the array there. But we need just 2 types. Actually, you need to do it on your raw data. What we're doing. So yeah, just do it on the raw data. Equals t-test, and then array 1, array 2. Or actually, you know what I'm doing. It'll be, so let's say we're doing like chemical 1 versus chemical 2. Okay, tail. So I've forgotten what this means, so I need to come back to that. Types, as it paired. Again, if you go to Excel, it tells you what to do. I think it's usually a paired t-test, the ones we're doing. Tails, paired, and gives you a number, and then you can find out what that number means on YouTube. But I actually forgotten. I forget every time. I'm sorry. But that's your statistical analysis done. You don't need to show how you get that exactly. You can do like a quick, I did this on Excel, and the Excel value I got was this. You can even put the formula in, like that equals t-test, and you can talk about what B3 to D3 was if you want to. The formula alone is fine, so you don't need to worry too much. You just need to show that you understand what this value means, and if it means that you accept or reject your null hypothesis. So that's pretty much it. So again, email me if you've got any questions. Sorry the video is almost 25 minutes long. I do apologize. But that's what you should be aiming for in your IA.